Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, June the 6th, 2026, and I'm Dr. Michael Patmos. And I am pissed this morning because this is a dark day in American medicine. And if you see below, I attached a link to an article with a video and a little explanation of what happened yesterday at the American Diabetes Association convention. So, for those of you who don't know, the American Diabetes Association is a very large organization devoted to the education and research and sharing of information among experts on diabetes. And this is for the benefit of patients ultimately. And the attendees are typically doctors and other healthcare providers who care for patients with diabetes. It's the premier meeting in the United States, probably the world, and it is attended by the leading diabetologists and endocrinologists in the world and in the country who take care of patients with diabetes. These attendees are often professors, experts. They present data, they present research, and they share the latest information about diabetes. Well, what happened yesterday? Well, a group of these doctors, experts in diabetes, were barred from entering the convention and forcibly prevented from going to the convention that they paid to attend, that they paid to travel to the location, and paid for hotel and other miscellaneous expenses, and they were barred from entering. Why were they barred from entering? Well, it turns out that they had authored an editorial critical of the Trump administration and its interference in medicine and science. The convention was set to be addressed by Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who was supposed to give the keynote speech. And just before he was supposed to give the keynote speech, these doctors were barred from entering. Their editorial, which was printed and being distributed, was confiscated by police, and they were, in some cases, tussled with. I wouldn't say got to the point of being roughed up, but pushed aside by police officers. We're not talking about rioters or disruptive people. We're talking about professors, diabetologists, endocrinologists, authorities, experts who are barred from attending a meeting they paid to attend because the keynote speaker, who, by the way, has an MD degree, but never did a single day of graduate medical education, no internship, no residency, no fellowship, is neither board certified nor board eligible, has no license to practice medicine, has never practiced medicine, has no clinical privileges, has no clinical experience, has no medical staff membership, knows nothing about diabetes, was set to address the convention when these doctors were basically booted out. By the way, Dr. Bhattacharya decided not to speak, which was probably pretty wise because I suspect he would have been heckled by a group of doctors that he doesn't even have the qualifications to be in the same room with, let alone be giving a keynote address. The guy never even did an internship. So this is what it has come to now. For those who, I've been saying for a long time now that Trump acts and behaves like a fascist. This is what fascists do. This is exactly what Mussolini did. They throttled and controlled the experts so that they can't communicate with each other. This is not just the first example of this. Bhattacharya has also barred infectious disease people and and workers at CDC from communicating with the World Health Organization or from sharing information or receiving information. There's been a real lockdown on quality information and a lockdown on the ability of physicians to communicate with one another and to communicate with the public, unless, of course, they're communicating the false information being shared by Robert Kennedy and his entourage of Maha fakers. So this is what it has come to. This is fascist America. And we're now at the point where doctors are being tussled with. Now, fortunately, none of these doctors lost their temper or lost their cool, because had one of them done so, you can bet they would have been taken down to the ground, handcuffed, and maybe, who knows, maybe even worse. We have seen people like Renee Good, a mother who was observing ICE get murdered with no consequence. And, it, the next thing that's going to happen here is a physician is going to end up getting roughed up, handcuffed, and, and hauled away because of being an expert. Now, you've probably heard Kennedy and Bhattacharya and McCullough and Malone and others talk about censorship, saying that they've been censored because they had contrarian views about vaccination. No, they were never censored. They published their comments. Bhattacharya's published this Great Barrington Declaration, which doesn't even have a single reference. They were never censored. They were just criticized because they're wrong. That's a difference between being criticized because you're wrong and being censored or not even being allowed to speak or enter a convention when you are the expert. So this is what it has come to. This is a very, very dark day. If you're a physician and you still support the orange curse, what is the matter with you? Your colleagues are being tussled with, to put it gently. If you're a physician and you still support this orange curse, you need to go back and think about your oath and what is actually going on here. If you're a non physician and you care about public health and you have a doctor that you like or a doctor in your family, think about this. These doctors, these people who have dedicated their lives, spent years and years and years of getting education and training, are being treated like a disruptive force. This has to change, and it changes with no, with the midterm election in November. Remember in November. Remember this in November. Remember in November, and this time get out and vote. The last time, more than a third of eligible voters decided not to vote. Another third, just slightly under a third, voted for Harris, and just slightly over a third voted for Trump. Trump did not win a mandate. He did not win with an overwhelming majority. He squeaked by with a little over a third of the vote because uh, more than a third stayed home. Don't make that mistake this time. Remember in November.